Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson, and I'm joined with Miguda. Miguda, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Doing all good.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Niko vyema. Yeah, wewe unaweza niambia what is happening on your side?
On my side, I saw the IBC shortlisted candidate were delivered to Mr. President,
Mm-hmm.
and also I also saw there was somebody who was arrested of having a snake in Busia County, and the Kenya Wildlife Service took that snake back to I don't know, the park or the game reserve. Those are the things that have happened from my side, and also the issue of throwing shoes at Mr. President has been condemned with the Kenya National Human Rights Commission.
Yeah.
So those are three things that have happened on my side.
Okay, thank you so much. And you know that issue of the shoe, hiyo mambo ya kiatu ni jambo ambalo imezua mjadala si tu nchi yetu Kenya, but hata kwa manchi jirani. Sana sana kuna rafiki yangu pia anafanya kazi ambayo si tunafanya hichi, lakini ni wa Nigeria. Ako Nigeria, lakini tuliongea katika kwa njia ya simu, akaniuliza kweli ni kweli mambo ilitokea, lakini nikajaribu kumwambia kwamba jamaa mwenye alikuwa amebeba ile kiatu sidhani kama alikuwa na nia ya kuirushia pale kwa rais, lakini ule jamaa mwenye aliichapa nadhani alikuwa na hiyo nia, yeah? But si jambo mzuri sana sana si vizuri sana, lakini hayo ndio maneno iko mjini, watu washaizungumzia, na nafikiri ama natarajia hakuna mtu mwingine tena atatokea kufanya jambo kama hilo, kwa sababu kila siku huwezi kuwa ni sawa. Siku moja utajaribu hivi upate kwamba rais ambao yuko mamlakani si rais kama William Ruto ama si kama Uhuru Kenyatta, ni yule ambaye labda roho yake ni tofauti na inaweza leta maafa makubwa sana. So tujiepushe na mambo kama hayo, hata kama uendani kisiasa na rais, wacha rais afanye ziara yake, lakini usifanye jambo ambayo itakuweka kwa shida na ile ambao itakuwa ni ya milele. Sasa ndugu yangu, kuna mambo vingi tu hapa nataka kukwambia. Kuna jambo la kwanza ni kwamba waziri mkuu alikuwa anapatia na onyo, kama sijakosea, kwa wale ambao watu kutoka Mlima Kenya, msipomuunga rais basi mtu akuwa na nafasi kupata makamu wa rais. Huyo unaongea alikuwa anasema hivyo, akawaonya. So inamaanisha kuwa makamu wa rais kama unapatiwa tu kama unaunga rais, ama unapatiwa kama umepitisha zile vigezo labda tunaangalia, ama zile zinaangaliwa venye katiba huwa inataka, ama vile katiba inaelezea kama ukitaka kugombea, ama kama umechaguliwa, ama unataka umewekwa kama makamu wa rais, ya kuna vigezo lazima upite ama uzingatie, lakini sidhani kama eneo fulani ya nchi huwa inakuwa ni moja ya vigezo hizo. So hiyo ni jambo ambalo mimi kwangu kama kiongozi, najua ni siasa, lakini si kitu ambacho nilikuwa natarajia kutoka katika kiongozi wetu. Unajua, kabla hujaingia, kuna pia nilikuwa nazungumza na pia tu rafiki yangu akasema, ukiangalia sana demokrasia yetu ni ile demokrasia imetekwa nyara, na imetekwa nyara na inatawaliwa sana na demokrasia ya ukabila. Ni jambo mpya ambalo mimi nilipata kujua. Ushajua kuna kitu inaitwa demokrasia ya ukabila?
Hiyo kama vile umesema ni jambo jipya, itakuwa ni jambo ambayo ni inahusika kwa wakati wa kisasa. Nasema it's now developing.
Na unajua
When
kwa
it comes
nini
to the study of democracy.
No, Miguda si ati kitu ambacho kitu ambacho kinakuwa ama kitu ambacho kinakuzwa na jamii, lakini ni kitu ambacho imekuwa kwa muda mrefu, kwa sababu unapata katika siasa zetu ukabila huwa inatawala sana. Jana ama juzi nilikuwa nimesikia rais akisema kwamba wale ambao wameungana katika msingi ya ukabila, yani alikuwa anaongelea wale wa Munyoro. Unajua wale walikuwa wa Munyoro, kwa msingi ya ukabila. Sasa swali ni je, ukiangalia kule pande ingine hakuna ukabila?
Kabila iko pande zote za hawa wanasiasa. Sasa ni tu wakati ukipata nafasi ya kuzungumza unakemea wale wenzako, vilevile auoni yale unayofanya, na yule mwenzako pia akipata nafasi pia nakemea. Sasa nadhani tu ni tu harakati ya kisiasa, lakini kwa usema kweli kabila iko pande zote.
Ama ile ni ile tu wanasiasa wanataka kuonesha wafuasi wao kwamba hao wenyewe ndio wako si wa kabila, kwa sababu kila upande ingine inasema wale kabila, ule upande wa kabila. Ndio maana sasa nilikuwa nakuletea ile jambo ambayo nilikuwa nasema kwamba siasa zetu zinatawaliwa na demokrasia ya ukabila. Jambo jipya hilo ni jambo jipya nilipata kujua kutoka kwa rafiki yangu.
So, siasa zetu zinatawaliwa na demokrasia ya kikabila. Hiyo naye nazisema huyu rafiki yako alikuwa amenena ukweli kulingana na historia ya nchi yetu. Unapata kwamba siasa zetu zimekuwa tu mnaungana msingi ya kabila. Kwa mfano unapata kwamba hata rais aliyekuwa mamlakani Uhuru Kenyatta waliungana na Ruto, kulingana na Wakalenjin na Wakikuyu ili wapate kiti, ili watenge wenzao. Hiyo ni inaweza hata Raila Odinga aliungana na Kalonzo Musyoka, unapata Wajaluo na Wakamba. Sasa hiyo ni alikuwa anasema maneno ya ukweli sana.
Okay, asante sana Miguda kwa hayo maoni. Sasa hiyo ni jambo jipya ambao tutakuwa tunatumia hapa, so isikuwe jambo geni kwa wale ambao wanatutazama. Ukisikia mambo kama demokrasia ya ukabila, usiseme kwamba na hiyo nini. Sasa tumekupatia labda maelezo kujua kwamba siasa zetu zinatawaliwa, ama chanzo kikubwa cha wanasiasa kuungana kwanza ni ukabila. Wanaangalia kabila yako, kabila ya huyu, na wanaiangalia kwa udadi ya wapiga kura. Kama eneo ambao kiongozi fulani anatoka iko na idadi asilimia kubwa, unapata katika serikali ambayo inaungwa utakuwa unapata uko na cheo kikubwa sana. So na kama unatoka kwa ile jamii ndogo ndogo ambazo hazina watu sana, wewe utapata kama hautakuwa unasikilizwa sana. So thank you so much Mr. Miguda. That is we call it the tribal democracy kwa lugha ya Kimombo. Hayo tu. Then there's also something that I need to read to tell you again is a school closed indefinitely after body parts are found in latrine. Okay. Migori suspect walk free. Trio in Ruto shoe drama released without bail. Drama as UDA MP is heckled, forced to stop his speech by angry residents. Huku kinachemuka. There's this that has caused outrage. I don't know how true is this. Let me tell you this. Ruto billion shillings advisor army sparks public outrage. Where did the money go? That is what they are saying there. Hiyo tu ni hawa tu hapa tu katika mtandao. Kuna vingi tu katika mtandao. Thank you so much Mr. Gitonga for joining, and thank you so much Brenda also for joining the show. Mr. Miguda, today we want to discuss about the Uhuru Kenyatta factor in Matiangi presidency. And if you are very keen, every time President President Uhuru make a statement, because recently has been making a statement and urging the young people to take their rightful places in fighting for their country, fighting for their democracy, and fighting for something that they belong for. Like, this is your country and you have to fight for it. So first of all, when there was a burial, he talked and even advised the daughter Ngina to join to fight for this country. The other day he was in Uganda, where he was hosted to give a speech to young people. And he talked about the same issue of young people fighting for their rightful place in the society, especially in governance and all that. And the last one was recently when he attended the invited guest only uh, uh, wedding ceremony for Gideon Moy, Honorable Gideon Moy, where he talks of he was giving speech, and during his speech he told the attendees that he had two fathers. There was a biological father and there was also a political father, and he told people how, or he told the guest how President Moy was not scared of young people, and he said that he's not like right now so many leaders are scared about young people. And the allies of the president did not take it lightly. The following day, they had to go on attacking President Uhuru Kenyatta. So that one alone explains to you how the way they will handle the Uhuru Kenyatta factor in Matiangi or in Wamunyoro coalition, just in case if they come. What do you think can the President William Ruto handlers strategize on the retired president?
The President Ruto team now should focus on how they can destroy the relationship between the former president and the Gen Z.
Yeah.
Because it's like the former president is communicating a language that resonates so well with the younger people.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, is communicating what young people have been saying, which the current regime has done deaf ears about. In my view, the former president now has made a relationship with the younger people. It's now up to the current president to also ensure that he counter that friendship. And by doing so, he need to ensure that it tarnishes the former president. It can even bring back what happened previously in his administration, like
Yeah.
what happened during the reign of Uhuru Kenyatta, which was contrary to the wishes of the people rightful now. Because even by the time Uhuru was the president, there were some atrocities were committed at the same time. There were things that people were also advocating for. Now they need to revisit them and also flash back to the people's mind that actually is now
Yeah.
at the forefront leading this movement. But when he was the president, he was even unable to solve the issue like unemployment, was unable to solve the issue of high cost of living, was
Yeah.
unable, even when they had an handshake, he was unable to bring other Kenyans into government. It was just an handshake on a word of mouth, but it was never practical. So those things they need to make sure that they are strategically in a position where they are focusing to deal with Uhuru Kenyatta during his reign, because at least he has a history. At the same time,
Okay.
they also ensure that they destroyed that relationship between Uhuru Kenyatta and younger people, because it's like Uhuru Kenyatta can now communicate to the
Yeah.
Kenyan at large when he speaks. He will speak to that constituent of the whole country, whereas the people like Rigiji will focus their mission to the mountain. So it will be very easy for them to send narratives to younger people, because you find even the former president, to an extent, urged the daughter to join the young people to
Yeah.
demonstrate. That can tell you that is a clear indication that whenever there is a lapse from the presidential side,
Yeah.
the Wamunyoro team might take the younger people. It's high time for them to counter that narrative.
Okay, before we come to that, and even maybe if I can explain more about the connectivity that President President Uhuru Kenyatta has with the young people, and speaking the language that, the language that they speak, especially concerning the space for the young people when it comes to the political processes. Yeah, and why is it usually so scary for the, especially the allies of the President William Ruto, especially when the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta talks about and urging the young people to come out and participate in the political processes of the country, and take what belongs to them. And he said this even in Uganda, but like the president of Uganda did not have a problem with it. And even some other African countries, we've never had them complaining about what the president is doing. Why is that the allies of the president are kind of like very scared of such utterances that are coming from the retired president?
They must respond to Uhuru Kenyatta, because remember, Uhuru Kenyatta was their opponent in the previous election. Actually,
Yeah.
they campaigned against Uhuru Kenyatta. That's why in Mount Kenya, they were too much on Uhuru Kenyatta. They were calling him names, they were abusing him. To an extent that they abused the mother, they abused the family, they
Yeah.
said all sorts of things even during their time. That is why Uhuru Kenyatta has also tried also to be consistent that I opposed this guy in the previous election. Now, by coming to support him, I'll be in contrary to what I meant by that time. So by
Yeah.
me being consistent is a justification that I was right, they were wrong, because I want to maintain my pace, because I never supported him. My
Yeah.
community was against me, supported him. Now I want to prove my community a point that come to my position. Now that's why Uhuru Kenyatta is now a happy man by advocating for the young people voice. At the same time, want to justify that I never supported him. So by the community going back to vote against Ruto, they are
Yeah.
going to now to listen to their leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, what they could have had previously. That is why Uhuru Kenyatta, these guys from president must respond to Kenya, because they understand that this is our opponent. He has been a consistent opponent, unlike Rigathi Gachagua, who was our friend, but they are just turned around against us because of the circumstances. So these
Yeah.
are different people. That is why they are focused on Kenyatta too much other than the Rigiji, because they understand that this Kenyatta want to justify to the community that I was right, you are wrong. Now let us be right for once.
Okay, thank you so much. And I believe you saw what happened when Kimani Chungwa, especially the majority leader, attacked the president during his reign, and he's using the same narrative that he used during the when they were campaigning for current President William Ruto. And now, when you look at President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and you know very well that President actually was the president then when he supported Azimio, and Azimio or Raila did not clinch the presidency. And now we have somebody who he campaigned against, who against all odds was able to clinch that Presently, what assurance do uh, the supporters of Matiangi have that Mr. President, the former president, will deliver the victory to them if during the time that he had the system on his side, he was still beaten by the President William Ruto, then the deputy president?
What Chunga was saying,
Yeah.
Chunga is just using the same narrative, because that narrative was popular in Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
And they sold it on essence that people purchased it because they were like, they have the mercenaries, they have the deep states, they have the system, but they outshine the former president. And
Yeah.
the people of Mount Kenya vote against Raila Odinga, but people did not vote against Uhuru Kenyatta. Actually, people knew very well that the opponent of William Ruto was Raila Odinga. I understand
Yeah.
that relationship between the duos. They can never vote for Raila. Even today, if
Yeah.
we call off the broad-based government and Raila and Ruto find themselves in the ballot, they'll vote for William Ruto. They don't vote for Raila. Even if today we can take Ruto and Raila to the ballot, two of them, the people of Mount Kenya will vote for William Ruto. They will not vote for Raila. That is why the people of Mount Kenya did not rebel against Uhuru Kenyatta. Actually, they rebelled against Raila. That is why that statement was popular at that time, because the person of the candidature was Raila Amolo Odinga, not other person. So if you want to bring that narrative right now, whereby Raila might miss into the ballot and they can end up with people like Matiangi and Kalonzo. People like Matiangi and Kalonzo are friendly to the Mount Kenyan people. We have seen that,
Yeah.
unlike the Nilots, particularly the Luo people. That's why it cannot be the same. If you use the same narrative, it cannot turn out what it turned out before, because we are dealing with different people. We are now having a Bantu on the ballot. if you have a Bantu and an ILOT, of course the Bantus can say, okay, Bantu for Bantu. They can vote for their own Bantu. And like what happened, we ended up with two Nilots at the ballot, but there's most hated one. So they say, okay, let us have the plain Nilots, the highland Nilots, but let us do away with these lake Nilots. That's what has happened. So Kimani Chungwa, even though they succeeded previously, but you must understand that the politics is dynamic and you must change the tact whenever it's necessary. Even Raila Odinga changes that the tact because he knows very well that the politics is dynamic. That is why he had to surrender William Ruto and allow him to serve with the people. So that one must also be taken into consideration as the leaders of Mount Kenya who are behind Kindiki. They should not use the same tactic which was used by Riggy G to chase away Raila out of Mount Kenya. Actually, they were not chasing Uhuru Kenyatta, they were chasing Raila Odinga.
Okay, thank you so much. And we have Judith Karwitha, thank you so much for tuning in. We have Laban Misiani, and this is what Laban Misiani says. As long as I support Matiangi presidency, this Wamunyoro group will lose to Ruto. Thank you so much for your comment. The railway connectivity from Naivasha to Busia and Nairobi Mombasa Expressway are two major development. Okay, I don't know whether, did you complete your statement? Development injustice practiced over past regimes, Ruto is addressing now. Okay, thank you so much. And maybe what are this what are this kind of like development that past regimes and injustices that they did that is being addressed now? So maybe you can share with us, so also we can mention to viewers who are watching us and those on the comment section. Now let's come to President Uhuru Kenyatta. And when you look at him in terms of his networking and friendship that he has both locally and internationally, that influence, can that one also scare Mr. President when he supports Matiangi, because through that he can mobilize funds and even talk to other the head of states who are friendly to him about Matiangi, and that will give Matiangi easy time? Or what do you think about his influence and networking and his friends that are abroad and locally? Can that one really be a factor to give Ruto headache?
It is a factor and it's very much necessary. But in my honest opinion, I don't believe that it can give William Ruto a headache because William Ruto also is someone who is also a resourceful person. And also William Ruto has also some connection, even though people tend to say they are illegal relationship, like the issue of South Sudan, the issue of Congo. Remember those areas also, even though there are some illegal deals between the gold things, the minerals at Congo, but is also making more money, just like any other person. So even those people can, those people who are doing those deals, or those leaders who has been tagged as persona non grata, they can also mobilize resources for William. So let's not omit that it is only Uhuru Kenyatta who is having that international network locally and even to a certain extent African. But also the current president is also engaging into certain deals which has been perceived to be illegal, but very powerful people in the continent, even Dubai, Germany, China, Berlin. So those networking he has been making. Even remember, he was according to the former president, the Democrats people don't know the interest of the Democrats in the coming election in the country. Those things might also be a factor for them. So I don't see whereby the Uhuru Kenyatta resource to Matiangi can give William Ruto headache, because it is even Raila was supported with Uhuru Kenyatta with everything, including those stoppers, whatever he demanded. But Ruto also was, the campaign from both sides was so well managed and organized with full resources. So if you have two horses, maybe Matiangi and William Ruto, the factor of finance should not be in consideration. What we should consider here, if Uhuru Kenyatta can, at the end of the day, ensure that Matiangi is declared as the president of the Republic of Kenya, that is where we have a problem. If at all they can challenge William Ruto, they will Ruto challenge Uhuru and Raila at the declaration point, whereby Chebukati declare Ruto. That is when we can say, okay, Uhuru Kenyatta influence was very impactful for that formation. But if it's a matter of just giving out money, that I don't see, because even people have said Matiangi doesn't need money to campaign, because people have said they want reforms and they are pro Matiangi. Therefore, if you are going to contribute to Matiangi, there is no much influence because people have made a decision, they want to move ahead with the country. Therefore, I don't see that the Uhuru's factor in terms of financially can influence. And even if you talk about the issue of African networking, even Raila was supported with most of the head of state, but it was at the AUC. The factor, there are some just fundamental factors that must be considered when it comes to election. Declaration of the result, transmission of the result, the issue of the National Police Service Commission. Those people are going to, the DCI, the people are going to receive the ballot papers from the airport where they're going to be guarded and where so those are the things that if they can, that's why Ruto, in his own wisdom, is also strategic. He has decided to put Murkomen as the internal CS. You know, that position alone assisted Uhuru in 2017 when Uhuru strategically put Matiangi as the internal CS. And Matiangi knows it very well what happened to Luo Nation when after there was declaration by the Supreme Court that the elections were null, void, and invalid. The police officers were sent to the Luo Nation and they ensured that even after the repeat of election, when we went to the repeat of election, people of Luo Nyanza never voted, they never turned out. But Uhuru was declared under strict security put on the AI roads, the A1 roads. A1 roads in Nyanza, there were police officers. In fact, they were even sending some choppers to assist them with more weapons to fight the people not to come to the A1 roads. So you can only demonstrate into those other roads. So you find out that one is very important. What if you decide to do the same tactics because it's applicable? They can decide to send all the police stations to Central Kenya and they will fill all the A1 roads so that no one can come out demonstrate and they are going to declare William Ruto. That is why this issue, other than having money or other than being an influential figure internationally and locally, there are some fundamental things that must be put into consideration for someone to be declared as the president of the Republic of Kenya.
So in your own conclusion, you don't see so much factor or something that the Uhuru factor in Matiangi's presidency is something that is not giving President William Ruto sleepless night. Is normal for him in terms of politics. Hello, Mr. Miguda. Okay, thank you so much. We are still waiting for Mr. Miguda so he can come and let us know what is happening. Let me take this opportunity to thank the following. There's one guy I'm seeing here. He has never been here for I don't know whether 3 years. Victor Oteng, how are you, Ban? Where have you been? Otherwise, anyway, thank you so much for joining. And we're just having a conversation about the former president or the retired president Uhuru Muigai factor in Matiangi presidential bid. Is it a threat to President William Ruto? Some people feel that it is not a threat because if you look at the last general election, President Uhuru Kenyatta supported Raila Amolo Odinga fully, and he really put a lot of resources based on what people are saying. But at the end of the day, President William Ruto, then deputy president, was able to become to beat them all. And even Mudavadi, the other day, Mudavadi, the prime minister, the prime cabinet, was saying, oh, aliweza kuwapiga wote, so which means na hii alikuwa nje, yeah? But hiyo ni uongo kwa sababu but when he was competing, he was still in the deputy president. The only issue is that they disagreed with the president, so they were not reading from the same script. President has his own candidate, and President William Ruto too was the candidate of his own. So in the end of the day, President William Ruto ended up being declared the winner. So maybe if you're on the comment section, what do you think, or what can you say is Uhuru Kenyatta factor former president, can it play or can it give President William Ruto a headache, uh, that I cannot win? And remember also, looking at it in this way, because like our elections are usually tribal in nature. You know, we talked about kwa Kiswahili tulisema kwamba demokrasia ya ukabila. Miguda.
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming back. And I was just telling you, one of our lost viewer, Mr. Victor Oteng, I'm seeing him here after a long time, almost like I think a year or something to do so with that. So we welcome him back, and feel free and always make sure that you come back. Miguda, we were talking about the influence of the the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, and we are looking at the factor, his name being or his being behind the presidential bid of Matiangi. And being somebody who has served this country for almost 2 years, he has been involved in various African duties, maybe to some other African countries for peace deals, and so many interaction, and made some decisions on behalf of African states. With those his advisory role, when he brings them to Matiangi campaign team, just in case, um, can they play significant part towards Matiangi presidency, or and even making Matiangi to be a potential winner for 2027?
That is okay, because you don't need to underrate anyone in politics.
Yeah.
And also do not underrate your opponent, because Matiang'i is worthy competitor. And when there is a combination force of former President Uhuru Kenyatta,
Yeah.
it, to some extent is very significant, because there's a way, the way you have said that Uhuru Kenyatta connect with young people. There are those who believe in Uhuru Kenyatta. They can say, okay, last time he told us to vote for Raila, we
Yeah.
ignore, and we are crying. What about if right now he has also seen light and told us to vote for Matiang'i? Let us go and embrace the decision of the president. That one can also be applicable. At the same
Yeah.
time, you must understand that there are some factors that are very significant, because Uhuru Kenyatta has been in this work for a long time. He has been on those trails. He understands the factors. And also, he is also a victim of
Yeah.
election victory in the country, whether they were stolen or not, but he's a
Yeah.
victim. Whether he stole those election or not, but he's a beneficiary of the declaration of the result of this country. So he understands on which ground can you play. And also remember, politics is about being smart. The way Ruto was very smart, because Ruto only it used only administration to win the election. He never even used the National Police Service Commission. He used the IG, but that deputy IG, and particularly he focused on the governors of Kenya and the chairperson of the IBC. That's why there was a division between the commissioners, whereby some four commissioners, there are four for Raila, but now he remains the three commissioners. But out of the three commissioners, the chairperson was for Ruto, the CEO was for Ruto. That's why you find out that it's about being smart. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are or how you are mobilized, but there's a leeway you can identify in any election that can propel you to be declared as a president.
Yeah.
Maybe Uhuru Kenyatta might have seen that leeway which he can apply to these
Yeah.
tactics, so that he make sure that Matiang'i can be declared. It's just a matter of who is smart among the two people. So
Yeah.
we cannot underrate the coming in of Uhuru Kenyatta into the Wamunyoro team, because he has won election in this country before. He has been declared in this country before. And in fact, even in this country alone, there was a certain year whereby a president was declared with a single province. There was a single province voted for a president and it was declared. So
Yeah.
this is, you cannot underrate the factor whereby there emergence of some people from New Zealand, Cumberland, and even the Gema. So there can be a factor. But what I believe and what I understand as
Yeah.
a student of politics, that after at the end of the day, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
who will be declared president or who will be determined by the Supreme Court. that person will rule for the next 5 years. That's why I just want to give him a benefit of doubt that with the impact of Uhuru Kenyatta into the team, there is how he can assist the team to be declared as the next president of the Republic of Kenya.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Miguda. And something that I want also to ask you, when you look at President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, he is coming with a background. A background of him is a background, especially when you look at Central Kenya. We talk about Mount Kenya Foundation. These are people who are wealthy, if to say, because you cannot compare his wealth with that one of Gashagwa. So you have Uhuru Kenyatta bringing in the basket of wealthy Mount Kenya, those like the foundation, the Mount Kenya Foundation that he used also to endorse Raila. Then Rigathi Gachagua is coming with the population of, we might say this is a population of those who do not have money, the mamambogas and all that. When you combine these two together, do you feel this can even send President William Ruto home early in the morning?
The President Ruto was sent home early in the morning of 25th June. President Ruto can be sent home at any point because it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of being smart. But if you bring that your thought to the table, that's a factor that you cannot ignore. That's a very huge force that actually must be reckoned because Mount Kenya alone, if they can vote block against William Ruto with the Kamba Nation and the entire Gusii region, and of course the Western people, what if they decided that we can give Matiangi to be the presidential candidate at the same time they are going to give the running mate to Natembea? So at the end of the day, you're going to find out that there are Western people also they can divide the Western, and that's not a small factor. So with that entire population of the people voting for one person, in my view, I can conclude that you can win. Of course, people have won in this country. Remember, people have won this election, but the person must be declared as the person who has lost the election. I believe that that factor alone, the Uhuru, Matiangi, and also Rigathi Gachagua. Remember, in some section of the country, you can view Uhuru Kenyatta as someone who is not popular. But I can attest to you, Uhuru Kenyatta is popular in central Kenya. During the Gen Z protest, I was moving from Nairobi to Naivasha, and I was on those matatus. Most of the people who are aboard those matatus are the people of Mount Kenya. And as we were conversing on the matatus, they were telling me that the only person who can stop this Gen Z thing from central, if Uhuru Kenyatta can speak, people will listen to him. That alone was a testimony to me that that guy is still popular, number one. Number two, the issue of Mount Kenya people. Mount Kenya are feel that they have been betrayed. And if they have been betrayed now, they want to revenge. And the best way to revenge is when they are united. And you can even see in society that right now is that unity factor in the Mount Kenya, and they are on a mission. And the people who have been branded as the rebels, they are not going to receive those rebels. That's why there is even threat from the valley that there is no need of giving these people the position of the deputy president, and actually they are not going to vote for us. Therefore, we should give DP DP post to a certain region whereby you're going to get a massive votes. Because if you combine those regions alone, you cannot ignore that force. And actually, we cannot say that William Ruto cannot be removed. He can be removed. Those team actually they can remove William Ruto from office. They can remove him actually. So we cannot say that William Ruto is the smartest to understand that he can never be removed from power. Even with a combination of Raila, they can be still sent home if people organize and people mobilize to understand that to ensure that we are people on one mission that they want to ensure that they transform the country. That one I can assure you that the current president, that team can make sure that he's a one-term president.
Okay, thank you so much. You brought in the issue of ODM, and there's something that Caleb Amisi said the other day that actually he was responding to remarks that were made by Nyawangaya. And also, let me take this opportunity to welcome Douglas Kipugong. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, Ben. Our PM, Anthony Albanese. Okay. All right. Able to ambia Albanese more about the PM. So, and Caleb Amisi was saying, Honorable Caleb Amisi was saying something that caught my attention. One, he was speaking about now you have to tell us what you signed for. So because like remember what Nyawangaya said, the High Excellency Governor for Homa Bay was saying we did not sign for assassination. So Caleb Amisi was just trying to ask the chair that what did you sign for? Then he told that you are going, I quote, you are working with a government that killed our people. You know, that I quote, that's what he said by Caleb Amisi. And you are seeing all this, and he said that now it is high time that the ODM comes out and tell us whether you are in government or you are not in government, we will speak. You know, what does that one tell you? And you go on the other side, Oburu too is saying that we are now, it is our time, you know, our time. You know, what is happening here in ODM as we look at Uhuru Muigai factor, the former president factor in Matiangi's presidential bid?
ODM, when ODM happens, people used to follow Baba. Everybody. Baba used to have the final word. That's why they were those two rules that rule number one, Baba is always right. Rule number two, Baba is never wrong. And rule number three, and very important, if rule number two fails to apply, refer to rule number one. Those things have made these people to move as a team. And there have been, if Baba say right, right, Baba say left, left. Now it has dawned on them that it is no longer that way because there are some people like Caleb Amisi, Prince
Yeah.
Ifuna, Babu Owino, whom were supporting the Gen Z protest, and they were with the people, and the people viewed them as the solution. Now it's very hard for them to go and work with the current regime because that was not their position. That is why there must be misunderstanding in ODM whatsoever.
Yeah.
And there are those people who are following Baba blindly. With them, they are very comfortable in Baba's
Yeah.
government. But the people who are still resisting and resting with the people, with
Yeah.
them, they have no escape route. People want to see them. Either they can walk out of ODM or they can decide now to go into government and they lose their seats. I've given three examples. Someone like Babu Owino, for him, it's now he is between a hard place and a rock because he cannot join government. If he joins government, he's going to risk the survival tactics in the elective position in this country. Elective position. People like Caleb Amisi, they have been very clear supporting the people. Now, if he joins the protest government, they will say, okay, you are sell out, such names. You people are sell out, you can't be consistent, you have betrayed the cause, and now they are going to risk to lose their seats. That is why those factors must be in
Yeah.
ODM. There must be two factors that the people who have aligned with the thoughts of UD and ODM merger, but those people who have not aligned the thoughts because of what happened. That is why they were never, I can see they were calculating. They knew very well that Raila Amolo Odinga has always been with the people. And they knew very well there is no single day Raila will ever, Raila
Yeah.
can never betray the people. Now it has dawned to them that it is no longer that way. Politics is dynamic, and politics is all about interest.
Interest. Yeah.
Therefore, it has reached a point whereby they have no option but to remain with the people. That's why people like Caleb Amisi will never ever make sentiments that is supporting Robert's government. And remember, there are those people also who want, people like Orengo, they want this marriage to end soon so that time can vindicate them. And there are also those people who are in that marriage who want
Yeah.
it to last forever because they are getting more things in that marriage. That is why there is a factor in ODM, and people think that there's a big factor, a division in the ODM, and there is that scrambling of attention of the party leader. But in my view, I want to conclude by saying I've also read Raila's, and I've also understand him. Raila is
Yeah.
going to serve with William Ruto, with the current people. Raila is not going to bolt out this time.
Yeah, and you know, and that one it begs the question, because if you listen to how the Prime Cabinet Secretary Douglas Kibogong, thank you so much, is the Prime Minister for where you are. Okay, Miguda, don't tell me I was stupid to vote Raila in 2007. In case you have never voted for him, okay, that is for Miguda, but Miguda will respond to that. What is it that I wanted to ask about when you look at our democracy that we always preach? You can elaborate for us, especially when it comes to this the role of retired president, especially in the political field, where if the president is commenting on issues that are pertaining the country, or the issue that are going concerned for the country, you find that the political class, those who are not aligned to his thought, might correct him or attack him. Because you remember, even Farouk Kibet was talking about a bill should be tabled in parliament that bars those who have retired not to participate in politics. But if you take the same scenario, especially in countries where they have developed, especially you find, like for instance, Barack Obama campaigned for Hillary. Barack Obama campaigned, no, Hillary, but Hillary was leaving the office. So especially for Biden and Kamala Harris, he did that, but it was okay. Why do we have problem in our country if a retired president is trying to participate in the political processes of the country?
Before I respond to your question, I want to respond to Douglas. Douglas was not stupid because that was Douglas' political decision and democratic exercise, whereby
Okay.
he was at liberty and no one should control your thoughts or your decision at the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Even me, Douglas, I voted for Raila when you guys voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. We voted for Raila. When you guys voted for Ruto, we voted for Raila. So this issue I've been saying here for a long time. There's no one who loves Raila more than us or more than me. And even Raila, wherever he is right now, even if you ask him about Miguda, you tell that Miguda and he loves me. He knows that one very well. So there is no war here. He understands what we are doing. It's a matter of decision making and a matter of also politicking and a matter of making someone to grow politically. But there is no enmity here. Raila, even him, he knows very well that we supported him and we voted for him. Actually, we voted for him and we have the evidence in our smartphones. We have voted for him. So we loved him very well and also we wish him all the best. We have been his supporters. As we grew, our eyes opened in 2007. We have never heard of any politician than Raila. Raila is our hero. As the people are coming, as the young cats, we begin seeing Raila. We never saw Jaramogi. So there's no way you can lecture us about Raila. He knows very well and he knows our position. So when I want to talk about that issue, I've talked about maybe a former president supporting any other person. In my view, it is all the problem has always been that there is people believe, like me right now, I believe that in case Uhuru Kenyatta is going to support Matiangi, I believe
Yeah.
that Matiangi is going to extend the Uhuru Kenyatta term. And Uhuru Kenyatta term expired in 2022 because our constitution is very clear that you can only go for 2 terms. But if you bring Matiangi, I personally believe that he's going to extend his term for 15 years and you have to have served for 10 years. Number two, I also believe that Matiangi is going to be a puppet for Rigathi Gachagua. And we don't want a puppet because Gachagua was chased away. Now it's been Matiangi to be a puppet. Those are the problems I have are the same problems people are having right now. And even those who are calling the so-called superpower world like American. Whenever Obama was campaigning for whenever Obama was campaigning for Hillary, then Obama
Yeah.
also campaigned for Kamala. Biden also campaigned for Kamala. People were saying that when Trump was declared as a winner, people were saying, okay, this has now bring an end to the administration of Obama and Hillary and the Clinton. Because people should always believe that even if there is a new person, be it Kamala or be it Hillary, they believe that there's some influence from Obama and from the
Yeah.
Clinton family and also from JF Kennedy family. Those things have been there, even in those called the democratic world, like the American state.
Yeah.
So even here in Kenya, whenever there's that factor of Uhuru Kenyatta and Gachagua, it Matiang'i scam, people believe that they are going to increase their term, they are going to be puppets. Like what happened the previously. People tend to vote for Ruto because they view that Raila is coming that baggage of Uhuru Kenyatta's term, that's 10 years. Because even supporting Raila to continue with the same baggage people are wanted to get rid of. Therefore, I still believe that, like me, I've said before, times to
Mhm.
that number, that I don't oppose any formation, but I
Yeah.
still have questions with Matiang'i that it must come out clear and clarify to the people what happened And also, it must also come clear like someone who is not going to be a puppet from Rigathi Gachagua, who is not going to extend Uhuru Kenyatta term. That's why at all time I've tried to give him his preferred running mate. I've also, the first time I gave him Sifuna, the second time I gave him Natembeya, because I want him to deviate from central region and the Kamba region so that he can appear like someone who's coming, not who is being propelled by the Mount Kenya Mafia team, or is not coming from Uhuru Kenyatta or Rigathi Gachagua. That is the case. So the point has always been, whenever someone is supporting the incoming administration and is presiding right now, people tend to believe that the coming person is going to extend the current person's administration.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me read for you these comments. This is from Douglas Kibogong. And before I go to Douglas, there's JB's. JB's, thank you for joining. The case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Could we also strip these guys of their mental powers by not addressing them as honorable, this or Mushimiwa? That, let's refer them by their names. That is a conversation that we should bring into the public. That's okay, because some of the things that they're doing does not bring honor to them or bring honor to the country. That is debatable. Those referring them as honorable ni watu wanataka Jamna. Hey, Jamna, okay. Ben, do you support Wamunyoro saying Kushites will rule Kenya for 100 years? No, I don't support that, because our constitution has outlined on who should rule and how we should elect our leaders. So I don't support that, provided that he meets the requirement of our constitution and he obeys the law. Then that could be the case. And Migude, there's also something that I need to ask you, and maybe you can also elaborate to us, because as you talked about Matiangi and his presidency, there are so many theories that have been brought, being that Uhuru Kenyatta being seen behind him, or is seen as somebody who is supporting his bid, due to the fact that Jeremiah Kioni said that he will be running on Jubilee, and Jubilee is for Uhuru Kenyatta. Do you think as a nation we've lowered the bar, especially when it comes to the chapter 6 of our constitution? Because despite the fact that we say that we are law abiding and people who honor the constitutional democracy, but we find ourselves not honoring chapter 6 of our constitution. Because you talked about Matiangi, there's some explanation that we need to know, especially from him. Why did he had to not to obey the court orders? Because those are some of the things that Matiangi did not do. He did not obey the court orders. That is one. During his time with Uhuru Kenyatta too, there's a Yala issue that is on his case. We also have this issue of the police officers that were accused of baby pendo. I read somewhere that they were let scot-free. I'm still yet to hear from Willis. I need to. I sent him a text. He has not replied, about that case, because he kept on talking about he was handling it. Now, when you look at what is happening, and with the chapter 6 of our constitution, and we know those who we want to go for that presidency, and there's some of the issues that we are questioning them, but still you will find ourselves, the people, voting for them. What do you say about that?
Those are the things we have been advocating for, and we have said very clearly that we are not in the disagreement, whatever formation you are bringing, just bring it on. But you also do not compel us not to ask questions. We must ask questions. We must be very clear, because the leadership and integrity part of it. As a leader of this country, someone is serving the public. The public. Why were you not obeying the court orders? Then you want to become president. It's me. You can become a dictator. When you think that, you will be a dictator. Next time you will be called to court and you will decline. You have already gave us your colors before when you were the interior CS. Now you want to pretend now you will obey the court orders. So those things must be addressed. We will address them, whether they like it or they don't like it. We are going to address those issues. Matiangi did not obey the court orders. Matiangi vandalized the Chinese gambling machine for the youths. And you know the youth of Kenya like to gamble. People will ask him those questions. Why were you destroying the gambling machines? Machines for Chinese. Youth likes gambling. Youth like betting. You cannot do away with those bettings. And that's why Jacob Mudi will never make his way back to parliament, because he brought a bill to parliament whereby he wanted to regulate bettings. And youth will not agree with Matiangi on those grounds. Matiangi also interfered with the bill of the refugee. As an international refugee observer, I want to know why he wanted to close the Dadaab and Kakuma camp at that time. What was his interest? He must make those things clear. He must also be accountable when he was the CS for the interior, who was presiding over the killing of the people of River. Because even Ongondo was shot just some days ago. Today, the suspects have been arrested. So they know, because they understand, they are still the National Security Council. There's nothing that can happen in this country whereby the CS for interior cannot know. He was aware, he knew very well the people who are committing such murder to the people. He must come out and clear his name. We understand that even the current president was also accused of crimes against humanity previously. We understand the current president also had some issues with the International Criminal Court, but he was acquitted. He was acquitted. This one must be underlined. He was acquitted. And when he was acquitted, we are not dealing with him as someone who's acquitted, but we are still asking the court, the ICC, the rights of the victims, that the victims were never compensated, even though the suspects were released, but the victims were never compensated. So we still have some issues raised in the International Criminal Court, the same issues raised in Matiangi. That is why when Matiangi is coming to the picture, the issue we have asked about leadership and integrity, I still think none of them has met the threshold of our chapter 6 of the Constitution. And that's why we still insist that maybe, what if you can have a third force? And this third force can emerge with someone who has at the threshold of chapter 6 about leadership and integrity. But all of them are not that super. That's why we still believe that even the Matiangi fact is coming in, but members of public must ask those questions, and Matiangi must come clear, answer those questions. The way Ruto has come clear, and whenever you refer to Ruto to the crimes against humanity where he was charged in the ICC, he will respond to you that I was acquitted. The court is the superior. The ICC court was superior, acquitted him. Now, the people are now saying, okay, court, we agree with you, you acquitted the suspects, all of them, including Uhuru Kenyatta. But where are the rights of the victims?
Okay, and you know, there's something that also I want you to at least share with us, because we are almost winding up. Because you said that when you look at Matiangi, Mr. Matiangi, yeah, and you go to the social media, you find that a majority of, or the larger percentage of Kenyans feel that whether you say what, we are with Matiangi. You know, the public has demanded themselves, like, okay, we don't care about the chapter 6 that you're going to say about River Yala. That is one. And another thing that people were asking, another issue was people were asking, okay, we are talking about Matiangi and you're talking about, like, you have to answer about the River Yala, but who is going to answer the one that really just happened, the abduction and the killing of the young people who just happened recently? Yeah, how are we going to handle this? Or is only like Matiangi is going to answer that, because that was his time in office, and now we are waiting until maybe the administration expires this one, then they will say if president wants to come and run again, just in case if you don't make it for the second time. So second term, people will say during your administration such happened. Can you give us those explanations?
What I want to say there, the person who was there during the abduction will be responsible. Matiangi was there.
Yeah.
We cannot hold someone who was not there to accountable. We are only going to hold someone who was there accountable, who was Matiangi. Right now, we understand that during the Gen Z protest, it was Kindichi who was the Secretary for the Interior, and there was IG of the police. They are going to be held into accountable, and the Nairobi County Commander. Those are the who are going to be held accountable. We are not going to ask Matiangi the issue of abductions and the issue of extrajudicial killing in the Gen Z protest right now. Those ones, I think there's even some live cases in court, and there are people who are responding to those cases. Even there's police officers who are in custody, and also the IPOA is also doing his work very well. So even the issue of Matiangi, you talk about the issue of the there's a police officer going on in the case. This is representing the victims in Milimani Law Court. There is a case ongoing right now about the issue of the Upendo. So the people who perpetrators are being held separately.
Okay, let me take this opportunity also to thank Mr. Felix Onyango. This is what Felix says. Following the proverbial say, new broom sweeps cleaner than the old broom, but the old broom knows all the corners of the house. Our politicians who aren't in the office but were once in the office can easily task the sitting office members in areas they aren't understand only if they accept to be corrected. Yes, but our politics is quite much different. Is nobody usually like to be corrected, because if you try to correct, something will happen. Ben, do you support Wamunyoro saying? I already read that. Is there something that I'm also missing? So, Miguda, there's also an issue here that I want to speak about, and maybe you can give me your view, because when you look at Wamunyoro, the meeting that happened in the weekend, or uh, some few days ago, we did not see Jeremiah Kioni, and we saw Matiangi. I was listening to him on Spice FM the other day, and what he said that right now I want to take a back seat, and I want Matiangi to speak for himself, but people usually have this idea that President Uhuru Kenyatta is not in good terms with Rigathi Gachagua. Yet the rumors are that Matiangi is President Uhuru's preferable candidate. How do we connect the dots?
This is politics, and let no one lie to you that Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua are not in good terms. They are absolutely in good terms because interests are merged. Whenever there is a convergence to interest, they must be friends whatsoever. Raila and Ruto were never friends from Tuo since Raila just kicked out Ruto out of the ministers when he was the Minister for Agriculture. When Raila fired Ruto, they have not been friends. But once their interests converged during the Gen Z protest, they became the best buddies. So this issue telling that they are never, these people will always work together whenever their interests are converged. And the issue because people like Gen Z want something which is new. Jeremiah Kioni had already said that they will give Matiangi the Jubilee Party ticket run for. And Jubilee has served in this country from 2017 to 2022. The Mr. President Uhuru Kenyatta was the party leader of the Jubilee. They want to bring another Jubilee government in 2027. It is not going to be popular. That's why people like Kioni must pull back and allow Matiangi to appear as Matiangi now without Jubilee. I think they are also being advised that there are those who usually talk fast. You need to wait first and people have thoughts before you speak. Like what Jeremiah Kioni said, it's like you say, okay, we had Jubilee in 2017, 2022. What is Jubilee coming to do 2027? We have a UDA government now. We need something new. Those things people are asking that question. Like what Mamunyoro said. Mamunyoro said that he said that the Gema will rule for the next 100 years. That there we are going to disagree with him, all of us. There's no way you can say that if you unite as Gema people, you are going to rule the country for 100 years. Then we are going to call for secession. You can have your Gema nation, other people can have their nation. We can divide the country. Because if you want to rule for the next 100 years, does it that we are only paying taxes and we are not even getting those positions? Wamunyoro sometimes must thought out very well before he come out to the public to speak.
Okay, thank you so much. There's something here quite much interesting. And, I would just want to read for you something from Hon Caleb Amisi. This is where Kenya is now. It doesn't not matter who becomes the IEBC chair. They can even put Itumbi or Farouk Kibet. In 2002, ECK was led by the worst in our democratic history, but they could not announce Moi's favorite against the Rainbow Team, led by Kibaki Raila. When Kenyans are unanimous, the winner shall be announced in the broad daylight by whomever is sitting inside the bombers. Stop focusing on who should be chair. You will never have control. Instead, start mobilizing Kenya towards 70% mark. Kenya needs renaissance. That is Caleb Amisi for you, and is a member of ODM. Very, very, very much vocal nowadays. The fear is gone. What do you say about that?
Caleb the face gone. He is fearless. He's a Gen Z. That is his opinion. I can just say that is his opinion. He's entitled to his opinion, but what I can just attest is that let him also not lie to people. IBC chair matter in this country. We have lived this country, we know the importance of having the chairperson of the IBC on your side.
Because what usually happens, like what the IBC chair announces, that becomes the law, and the only way you can contest that is to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court now require parties, and that's why I think like you have to get somebody who is favorable for you, so that even if you announce the wrong result, people go to Supreme Court.
That's what I'm saying, because we need to understand the Constitution. The way you have stated it very clearly that the chairperson is the returning officer, outlined in the Constitution, very clear in black and white. Returning officer, the national returning officer is the chairperson of the IBC. That is what the Supreme Court will look at. Who declared those results? Whether you disagree, 5 of you, then he was alone and declared it. We are going to rely on those results in Supreme Court. In Supreme Court, the defense team will say, okay, the person who declared was the returning officer under the Constitution. So it's very, very much important and urgent to have the IBC chair by your side.
Okay, that's okay. And you know, Caliber Missy, I think there's something brewing, especially in Western Kenya, because we are also seeing Peter Salasia having campaigns, going around having conversation around solidifying the Western Kenya. I don't know how he's going to manage it. We have Natembeya also talking on the other side, and we have Boni Alwale too, kind of like sending signals, because we know Boni Alwale, the kind of signal he's sending to me, I think is somebody who is out, is on his way out of the Jubilee. And what critical role, if to say, or what impact will the Westerners, especially the Western Kenya, you know, the power of their numerical number, but they've never put it into use because it has always been scattered. They've never placed it in one basket. But with the current events that are happening, people like Salasia walking around to bring the youths, we have Natembeya, the Dawe movement, and all these leaders sending different signals. What does it mean for Western Kenya, and especially for President William Ruto, bearing in mind that, okay, he's banking the support of Baba from Western that can propel him for his second term?
In Western province, the sad reality is that they are not going to be united. That has been from time immemorial. Because when people like Alwale, Madividi, Papa Waroma was supporting William, Raila was having the likes of Oparanya, Salasia on by his side. Now it's the same thing. Papa Waroma, Mudavadi, and Raila's allies are in Ruto's camp. But now Alwale are walking out of Ruto's camp. Cleo are working out, Natembeya is working out. It's just the same thing. They have been divided again. They can't be united. Once they are united, they can never. So Ruto is just relying on that half of the vote from Western, what Baba has been enjoying, because Baba has not been enjoying every vote, because people like the Bukusu have not voted for Baba, they voted for Ruto in the last election. So it means Ruto is just also relying on the support base. Maybe like he can get 60%. Raila has been or 70%. That doesn't mean it's all. And also Raila is going to bring the coastal votes. That one I can say it's certainty. And also I've also tried to engage the Luo people. Actually, Luo people are going to vote for William Ruto. Maybe that, whether it's small or much, but they have aligned William Ruto.
Okay, that is true, because some of because the narrative is and this is the narrative that is selling. One of the narrative that is being sold, and it is selling, by the way, because like in politics, you want a sellability. What an item can you use to sell so that people can buy? You study the market, and after studying the market, you know that what is in demand right now. What is there that is being done is like the Luo, the community are being convinced that you've never been in government, and this is your time. You have to be in government. Like any government we have worked with, we've been in the opposition for the rest of our lifetime. Now, this is the government where we are in. And if you even look at how appointment President William Ruto has done appointment, actually, the people from the lake actually have gotten quite a number of seats, even as compared even to the people from Western, where Mudavadi and Wetangula comes from. and remember, they worked so hard for this government, but now when you look at it critically, you find that the people from the lake has really benefited more than even the Mudavadi and Wetangula. I don't know whether I'm right with my statistics.
You are correct. Like I've told you, I usually do my own analysis before I come to the studio. I've engaged the Luo people. I've engaged them and they have told me some sample. Actually, even what happened between the Luos and the Gusi
Yeah.
people at the Gus Stadium, those are just rehearsals. They are saying Matiangi is going to run for presidency.
Yeah.
The Shabana fans have fought for Gormaya fans. We are waiting for them. Can you hear such statements? That's a
Yeah.
clear indication that the loose people have aligned with the current
Mm-hmm.
president, William Ruto.
Yep.
And also, the people like Oparanya, the people like Fernandez Baraza, those people who have been pro-Raila in Western region, people like Otuma, they have aligned where Raila is. And also the coastal region have aligned where Raila is. And that the population of Nairobi, of course, that section of Raila, they have aligned to support
Yep.
them. That is why it's very hard for Babu to hit Sakaja
Mm-hmm.
as things stand right now, because they tend to align with Baba's thought.
Okay.
Those are the things that must be put in consideration. Therefore, people like Salasia, Natembeya, Alwale, they will
Mm-hmm.
find their ways into Wamunyoro's camp.
Okay. Mr. Miguda, once again, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us. We had a brief discussion, and we usually have from 6 to around 7 during the week. And I think tomorrow we'll be having from 7 to 8 with a bit change the time. And also have to take this opportunity to thank everyone who was with us during this show. And it is quite a pleasure to dedicate your time to share with us and to have a conversation with us. Always, if you're new here or if you have friends who are not subscribed to this channel, kindly invite them, because this is where we have a conversation, where we correct ourselves, we grow politically, and we grow socially and spiritually. I hope one of these fine days Miguda will be coming to preach for us. He should come up with that program, so every Saturday he come and preach for us, and so that we can get that spiritual food, not only politics. So to everyone, including JBs, thank you so much. Everybody who was here, thank you so much. We really appreciate Oteng. Thank you so much for coming through. It has been a while, and may God bless you, and may God bless you all. Tomorrow we'll be here again, same place, same discussion, and tomorrow we are going to discuss Wamunyoro Coalition. Do you feel like Wamunyoro Coalition has the spirit and is going to solve the issues that Kenyans are facing? Because like one of the things that we know and we believe in, that Kenya has what we call the deficit of leaders that would propel, that share a dream and the ideology of Kenya, the Kenya that we want. So that deficit of leaders, yeah, whereby the leaders that we've always elected at some point have disappointed us along the way. And does it mean that we do not have enough leaders who can take those places? So those are kind of the conversations that we will be having. Again, we will be monitoring on Friday the burial of Ngondowere. Monitor it very keenly, because the political tension is in high stake in that area. Remember what the governor for Homa Bay County, she said that we do not want, this is a ODM zone. How are they going to handle that? So those are some of the things that we will be discussing about. If you have any issue that you want us to discuss, you can also share with us. We will be glad to share, to discuss those with us. Again, we are doing our first project for the very first time, where we want to collect rim papers, and these rim papers are going to be donated to a school where the rim papers, like the parents are finding it quite much difficult to buy this, and it makes it a challenge, especially for the school to facilitate or to continue with providing quality education. So bear with us, and we are just requesting you to join us on that project. Njiru, you are to my link. I'm almost leaving the studio. Maybe if I can do it for tomorrow. Thank you so much. Joy Jenkins, thank you so much for joining. And Njiru, you came late. I'm almost leaving for to attend to some other duties. So I'm sorry about that. Tomorrow I will make sure that I notify you earlier. and we have such like conversation. Let me see if I can try and send Njiru a link to say a word or two. Nisikue mchoyo sana. Wanasema unakuwa mchoyo. Sitaki kukuwa mchoyo kwa ndugu yangu, wacha nimuite asembe mambo moja mbili tatu before aende. Ama Miguda, what do you think?
You can just share with him. He can say 1, 2, 3, but you know me, I'm leaving.
Okay, let me see if I can share a link with Njiru.
So but you ought to have come earlier.
Yeah, so that is what happened to Mr. Njiru bana. Wewe umekuja late.
Njiru, some of us are engaged somewhere else. You ought to have come earlier. Like, tomorrow we are starting at 7:30, so you could just come in a bit early.
Yes, let me
we enjoyed the conversation.
Let me share the link with my good friend Mr. Njiru, and so we can know what is happening on his side, just to give us a comment before we can give him a few minutes. Tusikue, wa Kiswahili sema nisikue mchoyo wa fadhila. Unajua hiyo kusema hivyo? Do you know hiyo, unajua hayo maneno ya kusema nisikue mchoyo wa fadhila?
Hayo maneno ni mageni katika mjini.
Kuna siku nilikuwa nasikia jamaa alikuwa ananiambia mimi nataka kushukuru wale ambao wamekuja, nisikue mchoyo wa fadhila. Hey, Mr. Njiru, that is the link. You can join, so you say a word or two for us. And by the way, on Thursday, we will be engaging one of the youths from Uganda, especially working with the NRM. We want to know how are they doing their politics. If you look at Kenyan politics, you compare it to the Uganda. And the good thing is that he's working with the NRM, the ruling party of President Kaguta Museveni. So if you have any question for Uganda, don't fail to join us. Join us. We will be talking about and comparing how the political participation, especially for the Kenyan youths, and with what is happening in Uganda in terms of political processes and how the political space and all that. Thank you so much. We were discussing about the Uhuru factor in Matiangi presidential bid. How difficult it is for President William Ruto to handle that influence, bearing in mind that Uhuru Kenyatta has been served this country for 2 consecutive terms in office. Hey, Mr. Njiru, I'm waiting for you. I'm not even seeing you. Okay, and if you're new here, we are still pleading with you. We are still asking you, kindly please, you can subscribe to the channel and let us grow together. The bottom line for 2027 is already being drawn. Tell us, who do you feel or who do you think will win it? Because one day in politics is so much bigger than 1 year. Okay, let me see. Hello, Mr. Njiru.
Jema kabisa. Wacha ni Jema, unanisikia?
Nakusikia vizuri. Nilikuwa nataka kufunga kwa sababu niko na mahali ambao nataka kukimbilia kutafuta jambo fulani, lakini nimesema nisikue mchoyo, ukuje useme hata jambo mbili.
Kidogo tu nitafute power dakika moja, alafu I will be joining you 20 seconds. Haya, sawa.
Okay.
Anyway. So unaendeleaje bwana brother Benson?
Naendelea vizuri na sioni kama niko na jambo ambalo naweza complain, naona niko vyema.
Oh, vizuri. So I can see you have already spent 1 hour 19 minutes.
Yes.
So nitakuomba dakika 10 peke yake.
You are in order. That is in order.
Yeah, ufunge at the half of the hour, and I believe I will have landed. Okay, asante sana. Thank you for the people who continue to follow this podcast of ours with an aim of cleaning our democracy and having capacity to have a good nation.
Yep.
So naona you are trying to talk about Uhuru factor.
Yes.
Let me tell you that Uhuru has learned his lessons.
Yeah.
And he knows the dangers which are associated with directly engaging with politics. So don't expect Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta to repeat the 2022 or Moi issues. It has now been proven in Kenya. Wale viongozi wa zamani wakijiingiza kwa siasa ni kama watu wanafikiria why. Ni vile unataka mtu wa kukutetea, so you will not see Uhuru in politics. Na hata saa hii sifikiri kama ati tutafika ati level tutakuwa tukisema ati Uhuru will be supporting Matiangi or not. So Uhuru will just be there in the background watching. So whether Matiangi will make mistakes or not, don't expect him to get a lot of leverage from Uhuru Kenyatta. So utaona Uhuru kwa siasa, utakuwa unamuona tu in certain setups, then it's upon you to integrate na kujiuliza hii kitu vile nimeona. So you will have to think to ask yourself what. So,
but now, Jiru, let me ask you, if you say that he's not going to involve himself in politics, but some of the comments that he makes in public, especially in gatherings, are more of political, because there are 3 incidences whereby he has encouraged, especially the young people, to rise up and defend their country. Yeah, and that is not going well, especially with the allies of the president. And that's why you are seeing these attacks are being taken on him.
Yeah, let me tell you is that Uhuru speaks as any other Kenyan. Unaona kama vile tunakuja hapa kuongea.
Yeah.
Uhuru knows when things are working. And Uhuru can see deterioration, or when he compares his regime na hii ya Ruto, anaona hii ni regime imeingia kwa mtaro. So he is just trying to put that point of confliction as a way of putting, ni kama vile hata sisi tunakuja hapa kusema Ruto must go. It's a feeling you have like as a Kenyan. So when you hear Uhuru saying something, is he can, you know, Uhuru knows presidency more than us. Sisi tu ni kuongea tunaongea. So Uhuru knows what is workable and what is not workable from point of experience. So when Uhuru is saying, if Ruto was working better than him, angeongea. If he could, there's no reason of saying, but the reason why Uhuru is trying to speak, you are having a country whereby there is abductions here, people are being killed, there is a lot of devastation, the economy is not working, there are no jobs, the government is just giving promises without delivering anything. That is what makes, let me tell you, in fact, if there is a way of making a former president irrelevant, is you do better than him. But the fact that you are saying Uhuru anaongea, Uhuru becomes relevant because people feel his regime was better compared to Ruto. But if Ruto was okay, that point of comparison hata ingekuwa watu wangekuwa wanasema huyu mtu ni nini anatuambia hapa. So the reason why people can even listen to Uhuru is because, or maybe unasikia saa zingine mtu anataka hiyo comment ya Uhuru ujiulize ni aje. It is because when you do comparison, the two regimes cannot be compared. Even though Uhuru regime is not that we are saying that it was the best or they achieved, but now when you compare the two worst regimes, you are now with the worst. Now Ruto is the worst, so that's the reason why you can see now when Uhuru speaks, people feel like sahi unajua kuna pale watu wamefika, people even missing Moi. Sijui kama umesikia huyu Kivutha Kibwana. Kivutha Kibwana said 2 days ago that Ruto makes Moi look like a saint, and you'll see there was so any bad, so that's why najaribu kukuambia, when you have a bad leader, any other outgone leaders, they become relevant. So that's now the issue. So don't expect Uhuru to go away. Uhuru can only be suppressed if Ruto regime works, because unajua people remember. So you suppress them through work. So that is the issue. I don't know if I've responded to you in terms of that.
Yeah, you've responded to me in terms of that, and I agree, because like, you know, when you look at Uhuru Kenyatta, there's something that is very special. Not that I'm supporting him. There's that connectivity that he usually has in his presence, especially when he speaks. you feel the response and the connectivity between him and the people. And he's talking about the matters that concerning the nation. As you said, that as a private citizen. But remember, he has an influence. And from his utterances, it might be speaking to a different direction. It's that you're speaking the language of the young people. And what is the language of the young people? The language of the young people that we need a new government. That is one. Then secondly, also something that you're looking at is the member of Jubilee. Then if you look at he's the member of Jubilee, and Kioni is the mouthpiece of the Jubilee, and he said that Matiangi is going to run. I'm bringing for you Matiangi. That one in politics, you can interpret that he might not be physically or actively involved, but his influence is playing a major role in building that presidency.
Yeah, you see what happens, history ya Jubilee unajua ni katika hali ya kupiganiwa. Matiangi sio Jubilee peke yake itampigania. It's only that now Jubilee is trying to position itself so that they can become a serious beneficiary. Kama umeona Matiangi akitokezea hata kuna chama ingine nasikia inaitwa UPA. Something UPA. So definitely he will have to vie, if he will go up to the final end, he will have to vie using one of the parties. Yeah. So these parties are just trying to take sides as early as now. Whether Uhuru, whether we want to say that Uhuru hands are deep in Jubilee, and that is the reason why maybe Matiangi anaonekana Jubilee, and now we want to connect Uhuru and Matiangi. To me, I think it is irrelevant. The question which we are supposed to ask ourselves is Matiangi a presentable candidate? Is Matiangi an alternative? And any other candidate who will come, Brother Benson, the question will be very simple. Can this person be an alternative to Ruto? Because what we are looking for, see that we have concluded with Matiangi. Many other people, I believe, they are going to come. Even Akina Wamunyoro and Kalonzo Musyoka, they will have to agree. So, but ile swali tunajiuliza ni, is the alternative agreeable? Can now people say we are abandoning Ruto for this alternative? So ndio najaribu kukuambia sasa, and you will have to use the existing political parties. Yeah. The existing political parties ni kama hizo Jubilee, hiyo UPA na zingine. If you are not aware, Matiangi is like coming to duplicate or to replicate. Let me call it replicate. Matiangi is replicating the original Raila's battlegrounds. If you are not aware, so Matiangi is like trying to inherit, because you can see Mount Kenya region could highly go to him if he is the most competitive. Let me tell you what will happen.
Yeah.
The guy who will vie against Ruto, ya mlima itaenda kwake. Ili anatoka wapi? Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and already we know if it is Matiangi, kura wa Kisii inaangukia. And then you also need to know something else, that Raila Odinga is very fluid. Raila Odinga is very fluid. He could still revenge on Ruto. He could still, what is revenge on Ruto? Ulinibia kura. It has come my time now to revenge. Let me tell you, and Ruto will revenge. Ruto will not Ruto. Raila will revenge. Let me tell you, the greatest revenge Raila can do to Ruto is abandoning him na anguke. It will bring more comfort than hata kushinda uchaguzi yeye mwenyewe, because huyu mtu ashamuibia kura mara ya kwanza. So you make sure that he loses his seat. It's a good thing. It satisfies your ego. So that's what nakwambia, Raila Odinga will be at the center of it, trying also to prevent Ruto from power. I don't see a way in which Raila Odinga and Ruto will field the same candidate for the 2027. It is impossible, and I will give you the reasons why.
Okay, before you go there, there's something that I want to know from you, because like if you're talking about Raila and Ruto, because it's a replication of what happened in 2002, because Uhuru was in power, then he was supporting Raila. Yeah, that was something that was and one of the reasons maybe people were giving was that one, Raila was at a position of protecting the business that are aligned to President President Uhuru Kenyatta. That could have been one of the reasons. And because like protecting their interest due to the fact that this is a first family that really fought for this country, then they have a lot of business that they're doing with the government. So that could be one of the reasons. Now, come again to President William Ruto. Maybe that could also be played in Ruto camp, and knowing very well that sometimes if you look at Raila now, he do not have that energy. And with the changing of the tides of political in the country, whereby the young people are coming into the presidency, especially if you look at Africa. So they might look at this way. What is going to happen during, maybe if you have a coalition, give me the deputy president, because Mudavadi has often threatened the people from Mount Kenya. If you don't support, you're not going to get it. So give me the deputy, and by that come from Nyanza, and Raila is not going to run to keep that presidency of William Ruto. Do you think that is something that cannot happen?
For your information, Bwana Brother Benson, watu wa Mlima, their intention now, and maybe somebody could disagree, but I can tell you, because I've listened from many of them and what is happening in the grassroots. Watu wa Mlima, they are for Kenya.
Yes.
For the first time, they are for Kenya. For your information, Mlima, their intention in 2027 is, na kama umesikia hata vile akina Gachagua wanasema harambe one term. I want you to get that gist. What does it mean? Watu wa Mlima, their task in 2027, they want to prove to Kenyans that they can make you a president and they can make you a villager. So that one is much more bigger than them having a deputy president. For them, waangalie deputy president. For them, watu wa Mlima ile kitu wanataka ni they are taking Ruto to Sugoi.
Yeah.
That's what they want. So they believe any other person, they can be able to have an agreement with him. So ndio nakwambia sasa, in the 2027, watu wa Mlima, don't go and tell them that you are losing deputy president. Here was key. The eye is on the ball, and the eye ni wanataka kutoa Ruto. So kwa Mlima is about kutoa Ruto. So if you are telling that watu wa Mlima, now watu wa Mlima, they don't care about the power. They have even seen those positions do not matter if the regime is not right. So watu wa Mlima, they already know that you can have a deputy president and you are suffering. So for us, we are not looking for a deputy president. For us, we are looking for a regime which will do the right thing. You don't need to have a deputy president so that you can get services in Kenya. All what you need is a president who loves his country and is ready to work with you. So the Canadian watu wa Mlima is all about kung'oa Ruto. So usiwaambie story ya vita, story ya viti. That's what nakwambia sasa, hata Mudavadi has not understood them. So watu wa Mlima is very simple, kutoa Ruto, and they want to prove it. We brought you to power and we will inject you power. So that one will be more satisfying, and especially even for Gachagua. If there is a target which Gachagua wants, is to make sure that Ruto goes home. If Ruto goes home, it will be very satisfying for many of them. Go ahead.
When look at the leaders, or the leaders who are coming to Wamunyoro, we might call it Wamunyoro coalition for lack of a better word, because that is what now sells. Because even if you go to Nyeri, I love Wamunyoro is there, so we call it a Wamunyoro coalition. Do you see these leaders, their interest is not going to override the interest of coalition and the interest of the country?
Don't worry about that. At the end of the day, election is a binary choice.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, kutakuwa na grupu ya Ruto na hii grupu ingine. So ile kitu iko, hao watu wote watashikana, because we have already known, we are now past 202.
Yes.
202 tulijua ya kwamba election is a coalition in Kenya. Hiyo ndio kitu tulikuja kujua. So don't be worried about that. You even had what Nwawekesa said. So we are expecting a very big coalition to be developed. So and that coalition, people will agree. Watu wa Mlima, watu wa Nyanza, watu wa Uluyani, Kisii, Ukambani, we will agree on a coalition. Because huwezi enda kivyako. Ukienda kivyako and no one is interested. That's why nakwambia saa hii, it is not a coalition. You know, we have two types of coalition. There is a coalition of the willing, when there is options, and there is a coalition as a necessity. In Kenya, it's a coalition as a necessity, because it is you either coalesce or die. You choose either. So sahi ni kushikana. So that unaona watu kama akina Martha Karua, Gachagua, Kalonzo, it is you either work with each other or you go to Ruto. So hata usiulizia ati watu watashikana aje. So the issues of interest, that one is after ejecting Ruto out of power.
Okay.
Sasa ndio watakuja kufikiria interest, what is in it now. Go ahead.
Okay. So with the situation that we have currently, because we know we have a higher percentage of the deficit, leadership deficit with the people, whereby people are not satisfied with the current administration. Do you feel that the people of Kenya will have a Tosha moment for Wamunyoro coalition or any other coalition that will take up?
I get you. Wamunyoro is not giving us leaders. There's something I want you to understand. Wamunyoro is a center of mobilization.
Okay.
It's just we are mobilizing. Lakini viongozi watatokezea. Even Wamunyoro knows. Wamunyoro knows he cannot be a leader. He knows that. But he is a mobilizer.
Yes.
So ni like he is a truck. Huyu ni mtu wa kubeba. Kubeba. So Wamunyoro knows that he is not looking for power. And Ruto will make sure that he makes conditions favorable for him. We know that. So that now Wamunyoro can feel he can go for presidency. But I hope Wamunyoro is very keen enough to know that to know his strength. Unajua kwa hii maisha kuna kitu tunaitanga strength. So Wamunyoro is a good mobilizer. Lakini ikifika kwa uongozi hapana. So he is a center of power. And we agree he is a center of power. He will bring people together and he will anoint the next leader. Okay. So we expect a very good leader. We expect he will be able to, that association, because it's a point of mobilization, we expect that a very good man will emerge from that place.
Okay.
With the sponsorship of Wamunyoro, of course.
Okay, now, because what you've said is that like now Wamunyoro seems to be like that influential or the foundation whereby everything comes, then he will be blessing. What the strategy maybe they might put in place, because like after knowing very well in politics that this is where the center of everything is. So the main target of the opponent might be, how can we find a way of weakening the center of foundation so that it can fall? So the Wamunyoro becomes the target, and to make the whole thing fall. How are they prepared, Wamunyoro, if to say, how is that one, the preparedness in that?
Yeah, if you look at Gachagua, let me call him Gachagua, Gachagua of 2022, Gachagua is naturally determined.
Yeah.
Come on, if you want to know the impact of Gachagua, look at the way he went direct to Akina Uhuru and all the rest, the way Akina Raila, the way he was attacking them and trying to mobilize. So the only way in which you can influence Gachagua, maybe unless you kill him.
Okay.
So, and I don't think Gachagua can be able to return to Ruto. So, and Gachagua is aware, si ati ajui, because watu wa Mlima, we have also learned from Matiba O's. We know how Matiba served and Akina Kibaki.
Yeah.
So we cannot have two coalitions in Mlima atukute kuna Fordasiri na DP.
Yeah.
Hiyo mambo hakuna. So what there is that and the reason which is actually making Wamunyoro very popular is that Wamunyoro is not interested in a seat.
Okay.
No. If there is something which is actually selling, but if today Wamunyoro said that he want to become the president, hata hiyo influence yako nayo hatakuwa nayo.
Okay.
Because the fact that he is saying, me, I'm not interested in the seat, it is attracting some genuineness. It is like people are now saying, anyway, huyu jamaa, after all, he wants to help us. Yes, he could have a bit of influence. So what will happen in Kenya? It will be the Sonko fire thing. The Senegal, how the Senegal thing happened. You remember Sonko was the center of mobilization.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
I don't know if it is Senegal or Ivory Coast. Maybe
no, it is Senegal, where Faye was imprisoned and he came after 10 days and he was elected, but Sonko was the person mobilizing, and the president then decided to put some charges on even Sonko himself, and he said that there was no election, but who at the end of the day, they became
that is what is going to happen in Kenya. It will be a similar case whereby the center of mobilization discovers that you cannot go anywhere.
Yeah.
And by the way, for your information, Fire was not popular at all.
Fire he wasn't popular. It wasn't.
But through the blessings of Sonko, he was now able to. They were able to galvanize. So they nothing. And then after Sonko after Fire became the president, he decided to make Fire a prime minister. So he decided to make him a prime minister. So what I'm trying to tell you is that this association, as long as Gachagua is not interested in a seat, it will work.
Okay.
So, but if Gachagua says that he is interested in power, so actually what Gachagua is supposed to do, if I'm his advisor, Gachagua should not even say he wanted to be a prime minister or anything. Gachagua should concentrate just with mobilizing to become a center of power and make sure. So actually, Gachagua assignment should be simple.
Yeah.
One term. Unaona hivyo wanasema harambe one term.
One term.
That one should be the key interest. So Gachagua should not reach a level whereby he is saying you want to be a president, you want to be a prime minister. So the moment Gachagua will start having political ambition, Wamunyoro will tear off. Wamunyoro is becoming a center of focus because, and this is what happens even biblically.
Yeah.
Once you have some selflessness, you seem like you are not. It's not like you are in this thing, wanting something from it. It is extremely attractive. Yeah. That is how even actually many people have become powerful. So, and Wamunyoro has an opportunity of becoming an impactful human being in Kenya. Hata kama ana ile ati masomo kubwa sana ma PhD nini, but Wamunyoro can actually reshape the Kenyan politics for good because he is the only man who can actually be able to unseat this government without even wanting a seat. So that for me, I want Wamunyoro not to focus on a seat. He should focus on removing Ruto. Maneno ya viti na huko mbele, we will know what he can do in the next government. But 1 minute,
okay.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. And we will advise him accordingly. Some of us, we know how we can reach him. So that's why I've told you, watu wa Mlima, we are very much aware. Sisi hatutaki kiti. We don't want to be a president. We don't want to be a deputy. So, hiyo maneno, if Ruto thinks that he is going to divide us because we want seats, the clarion call is simple. Ruto must go. That's what we are working on. So, whether you are a president or a deputy president, for us, it doesn't matter. Sisi tunataka kutoa Ruto. And that is why this movement is becoming bubonic and serious. Our target is to remove. So when Mudavadi is trying to come and telling us that tukiachana na Kindiki, we are going to lose the deputy seat, he is not aware. We don't want the presidency. We don't want the deputy. We even don't want ile ingine. Ile yake. Our clarion call ni kung'oa Ruto. That is what is bringing us together. If I talk with my mother is telling me, sisi tunataka kutoa Ruto. I talk with many people, sisi tunataka kutoa Ruto. So that is that is what should make Ruto scary. So Ruto asifikirie story ya viti ilisha. Because we have discovered you can suffer with those seats. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to thank the following: Mr. Political Bar, fellow brother Benson Media. Rigathi is a kingmaker, a very powerful role. Thank you so much, and may he use the power, he humble, wisely, maturely. Gibson Corner, hi brother Benson Media. Thank you so much, Gibson, for joining. There's something that also I want to know your view, because when Murara came into the picture, he was viewed as a young person that has visionary ideas for this country, and he was fighting for the better cause. And at some point, he was talking to Rigathi Gachagua. But now we've seen he has taken a different turn of going ahead and attacking Wamunyoro specifically.
You are talking of Morara?
Yeah, Morara. What is his game? What's his game? Is he trying to influence the constituency of the Gen Z, or he's just targeting Wamunyoro just because somebody is behind him.
Let me tell you, Molala is very sad that he is not supposed to attack grown-up men.
Yeah.
It's very wrong what he's doing. The day when I saw Morara, you know, at the end of the day, hawa wazee ndio wanapanga siasa. We need to be, and I don't know why Morara is not his interest is not in Ruto. I don't know why. Like, why is Morara? You know, the issues of like saying Gachagua this, Kalonzo this. I don't like it. What I want Molala to be telling us is, and that's why personally I cannot listen to him. I want him to tell us what is his target to Ruto with Ruto. So that is the mobilization point. So let me tell you, unaona watu wakikosana, even saa zingine nasikia watu wakisema ati Gachagua anaweza rudiana na Ruto. Kuna vitu wezekani. Do you know why? Because ile wakati watu wamekosana and then the wage is too big, you cannot coalesce together. And I want to tell you, if you can look clearly, Gachagua and Ruto, the distance of separation is too huge. Hata watu wakirudiana, hata kama watu wanasemanga siasa hakuna maadui, hata watu wakirudi, au watu wameoshana sana. You remember even when Raila Odinga and Uhuru, hata kama walikuwa wanaingililiana, umewahi sikia Raila Odinga akisema Raila kuna kitu nini, Ruto nani, Uhuru kuna kitu ameiba? I want you to go, walikuanga tu, their attacks were not like, their attacks were like, go and look at attacks ya Raila Odinga na Uhuru. They are not like, it is cosmetic attack. Yeah. Cosmetic attack. Lakini, go and look at attack ya Gachagua and Ruto. When Gachagua is coming out na anasema ICC should take note, we know that yeye ndiye anapeana bunduki ziue watoto na wamama Southern Sudan. Do you want to tell me that this, and do you know that is something which is very destructive to Ruto? So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Gachagua cannot mend off with Ruto in this political dispensation. Maybe they can mend off in the future, but until 2027 they cannot mend off.
Do you think what has necessitated that is the way the president wanted to kill his political career? Because as a Gachagua, as a politician, you always have this political ambition. They had a disagreement with the president, the same way President Uhuru Kenyatta did.
No, it isn't even that way. I get you.
The impeachment issue.
It's not about impeachment issue.
Yeah.
You need to understand Ruto. Some of us, we understand Ruto. Ruto is very egocentric na mtu anajipenda sana. Ruto cannot work with anyone. Ruto hata ikifika story ya corruption, yeye ndiye anataka kuiba peke yake. Au wengine anataka wakuwe vibaraka, wamuletee. Unaelewa? So, what there is that Gachagua was a matter of time wangefanya kazi na Ruto. The reason why Kindiki is able to work with Ruto is because Kindiki is not having a conventional seat. You need to know that. Kindiki is not having a seat where he can make any authority under this. Kindiki ni mtu wa kutumwa. Henda pale fanya hivi, enda pale fanya hivi. So that's what najaribu kukuambia. So Kindiki is a kibaraka. Na ndio, don't expect Kindiki wakosane na Ruto. And Ruto wanted such type of a person. Mtu wa kutuma wewe. The way he has suppressed the Kalenjin community. Do you know that Ruto amesuppress wakale wote, hakuna mkale anaweza ongea anything? Yeah. So that is how he works. Ruto has to suppress you. So wewe ukifika level whereby wewe ni mtu ambaye your ego is a bit higher. Wale watu ambao hizi nyamazishwa, all people who they want to do things in their own way. You cannot work with Ruto. Sababu Ruto ni wale watu ambao anataka kukuambia fanya hivi. You think that people are joking when they say that Ruto appoints advisors and he advises those advisors on how to advise him. It's not a joke. Ruto anakupea kazi and he teaches you what to tell him. Na wewe unafaa kumwambia. So that is Ruto. So Ruto cannot work with anyone. That's why even in the whole of Africa amekosana na mapresident wote. Ni vile hamjasikia information. Ndio hiyo kimbelembele. Hata AU hakuna AU, all those presidents amekosana na wao wote because anaendanga pale, he cannot work with Suluhu. Museveni unajua tu ni vile tu he cannot even work with Museveni. Ruto cannot work with anyone. In Europe he is unable to work with them. in America, he has been unable to work. So I'm telling you, kazi ya Ruto ni wizi. Hakuna kitu ingine.
So talking about the advisory role, because we've seen so many technocrats, especially that are coming from Raila Odinga side, have been appointed. And if you look at those who have been appointed, especially the likes of Macau, Mutua, the likes of Professor Adam Solo, these are the think tank of Raila Odinga in his office. What does that one paint a picture to you? Because these are think tank. What picture does it paint to you?
You know, Brother Benson, Ruto has lost his constituency. So Ruto our advisor unaona Ruto akijaribu kuleta, he is trying to stabilize himself.
Yeah.
And trying to rebuild his base into a new place. The moment when he lost the Mulima,
yeah,
he decided to run to Raila think tanks, all of them, with an aim that these people will get power, and then they will get comfort. So they will get power, they get comfort, and then they will abandon all their past ambitions, and they work with him, and they help him to build the 2027 campaign. But that is the big question which we are trying to ask ourselves. So Nisawa, Ruto may appoint almost 5 people as ministers, and another almost like 3 people as advisors, and in other places. And he expects these people to help him to build a political machine in 2027. But question is this: with certainty, do you think Raila Odinga is going to help Ruto to build a political machine to replace the lost constituency? Is that a question? Do you think? Yes.
And that's the question what we are asking, because when you look at the advisors that have been brought in, these are people who have been very loyal to the Right Honorable Prime Minister ever since. They've never changed. The likes of Adam Solo, the likes of Macau Mutua, you know. So is it the appointment that are made, are they to enhance the development of the country, or it is another way of building a secretariat for 2027? Those are the questions that people are asking.
Of course, Ruto is trying to build his campaign machinery using these people. But the issue is between Ruto and Raila, these people, their loyalty is to Raila.
Yes.
And the question is, has Raila, the question which we need to ask ourselves, has Raila built, has Ruto built loyalty on Raila? Can we say that now Ruto and Raila, they can work together on the same platform?
It is quite challenging to answer, because you see there's you see two-sided coin. You know, there is the think tank that surrounds the Right Honorable Prime Minister, especially saying, okay, this is good and they're taking these jobs. But there are those like Caleb Amisi, you know, every time Caleb Amisi is sending out his view to the last one that was on Saturday, and he posed the question that, what did we sign for? If that is what you did not sign for, what did we sign for? And some people like Sifuna are also saying that whether you support him or not, he's going to lose the election. It doesn't matter. So there are two categories of people, that those who are supporting and those who are having dissent opinion. So this one puts you in a way that you cannot have a clear picture of what is happening. Where is the loyalty? The loyalty for the elite, especially we can say the think tank of the Right Honorable Prime Minister, and the loyalty for those who are party soldiers, who participate in election, especially they going for those posts. Because like if you look at people like Adam Solo, they're not going for elective post, but their work is advisory, offering expertise to Raila Odinga. And you have people like Caleb Amisi who are talking to people on the ground, who are elected by the people, are saying, okay, the direction is not right. So where do you put in the loyalty? Which loyalty is he looking for? Is it for the expertise or for the people who are being voted in?
Yeah, so that's a big question we we have to ask ourselves, as Raila Odinga cemented the support on Ruto,
Yeah.
whether amelipwa ama hajalipwa,
Yeah.
we cannot tell. They can tear off.
Yeah.
They can tear off. Because remember, even Raila Odinga is interested in his own legacy. And I don't think Raila... So Raila Odinga loyalty to Ruto will depend with if Ruto chances of being elected are there.
Okay.
But if Ruto will continue thinking, hata Raila atamwacha.
Okay.
I don't think Raila will continue being in a thinking boat. I'm not saying that Raila Odinga akuja unganya na pande yetu na pande ya Wakenya, but I'm saying Raila Odinga will also not, he would also not want to become a perennial loser, whereby he goes to try and help Ruto na ikataane. So story ya Ruto kusaidiwa itategemea na how it is machinery.
Okay.
So I don't know how they will. I still believe there can be a recreation of 1992, whereby maybe they want to create a new young machinery. I don't know how they are going to do it. Sababu sahi huwezi print pesa, but I'm hearing they want to do a 1992 one, the same way the Jirongo one. Nile sasa sijui kama sasa vijana wa siku hizi wakitumiwa watu kama Jirongo, the Jirongo of today, if they will be able to listen to them. So that's something which I'm hearing it is in the creation. But larger try, what I wanted to confirm to you is that a lot will happen, especially when it comes to the person who will come and remove Ruto.
Okay.
But the truth of the matter is that it will be among some of this many people who we always see them in the front of the politics. I don't see Kenyans wanting to be creative and bringing a totally new face into politics. I don't see that because you know how the Kenyan politics are, because the fact that we are still mobilizing on, we are mobilizing as regions. It means that there will be a lot of give and takes between different regions. And out of the many people who are always in the politics, how do you watakuwa tu pale mbele? Maybe we can take it as a path. In the future, we can say we can now start getting new face of new people wanting to become president. A new person from the street akuja na akuwe kiongozi. But for now, and to be realistic, the person who will become the president of Kenya is among the many people who we can see in the streets now. So what we want is, we just want somebody who will come and stop bleeding. At least somebody who can come and stabilize things. We are not over-expectant, because Brother Benson, I have also to tell you this. Personally, I'm not over-expectant that we are going to elect somebody who will come and bring a paradigm shift. But at least what I want, at least because you know, progress is a journey.
Yes.
And changing a nation is a journey. I'm giving myself 30 years.
Yeah.
So I have already wasted 5 years with Ruto, but I'm giving myself 30 years, whereby within a journey of 30 years, we can now be able now to get that serious transformative leader. But for now, we need a stabilizer. Unajua, let me tell you, I work in the engineering sector, and I will tell you, saa zingine when kuna kitu tunaitanga pile.
Yes.
P-I-L-E, pile. So pile, they are mostly used in soft grounds, especially like if you go and watch the documentary of the building of Bajar Khalifa, I mean, this is a Mator building.
Yeah.
Pile, you put the tile, not the tile, pile in the ground. Ni chuma unapigilia, ama inaweza tengenezwa na kokoto, inapigiliwa chini kwa soil kabisa, ili ukuje kuwekelea foundation ya nyumba juu yake.
Yeah.
So because you don't want the house to sink. So what I mean is that now we are in very unstable ground. Yeah. And when we are in unstable ground, I don't expect we move from instability from instability to stability. For now, I just want we begin the process of stabilization.
Okay.
So we begin by putting piles. So once we put piles, then in the future we can now say that now we have a good foundation where now things can start from there. But with Ruto, Brother Benson, it's not easy to start saying that you want, at least we want somebody who can come and make things normal. Somebody who can come and appreciate education, somebody who can appreciate our health facility, somebody who can come and normalize construction, putting people on employment. We just want normality for now. It's
Okay.
too much. Maybe
Okay.
in the near future, we can now start working on those serious transformative leaders. Otherwise, if we want to work with a serious transformative leader, as per now, there will be a fight between the guys of status quo and us here.
Okay.
And now we have the Ruto here who want to divide us. Now we have to a little bit lower our ambitions. Yes, I know Kenyans are very ambitious. We want changes from day one, but it is impossible. I want us, let's work with what is possible, with a focus of democracy is work in progress, and things can be changed over time. Personally, I've given myself 30 years. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, and I want you to answer this in because, like, I think my time is also I've gone over my time, and I want you to maybe to give you your thought, because there's a new word that I came across today. We call it the tribal democracy, and the tribal democracy is what is ruling our country. And if you listen to President when he was in Migori, a certain place called the Ria Market, he was talking about giving his opinion on the Wamunyoro people who went, the leaders who were having gathering at Wamunyoro, and he talked about how wamekusanyika kwa sababu ya ukabila. And that narrative is not very new, is a narrative that he used last time. And do you think that narrative is going to be effective in the political field that we are in right now, maybe in a few minutes?
Yeah, this one I will explain in 1 minute. You know, every election usually has the narrative which takes the course. Uchaguzi yote kwa dunia inanga narrative mbili. Narrative inakuanga moja. Yes. Everywhere. Because uchaguzi inakuanga summary na watu wataki kufikiria sana. So, and these are the narratives which will guide the Kenyan election. Ni 10 bila break.
Yeah.
Ama Ruto must go. One has to suppress the other one. That in election, you cannot have two narratives. So, 10 bila break, ama Ruto must go. One will suppress the other one. And I can tell you my prediction is Ruto must go. Umeona hata mpaka huko Los Angeles, hata wazungu wanaimba Ruto must go huko Los Angeles. Yeah, how do you suppress Ruto must? So 10 bila break is not even gaining traction. Ebu niambie 10 bila break. Have you heard people in the stadiums singing 10 bila break?
It's partly in the social media.
Where have you heard 10 bila break?
Partly they write it on the social media, maybe you could say it.
One individual, unasikia tu jamaa mmoja ama wawili. What about Ruto must go?
It's like a national, it's everywhere.
Now, that is what, if that one is the code for 2027, Ruto is going. So narrative inakuanga moja. So ni pia sisi sasa tukue very serious. Hii yake 10 bila break asiende ai design. Alafu sasa ikikuja ianzie ku overtake yetu. So it is a fight of ideas. And so far Ruto must go is working. And that's why Ruto is losing. If you did an election today, Ruto must go will take, we call them winning narratives. Kabla ya mpigia mtu, watu wanaendanga, ukienda kwa kura. Let me tell you how we voted, how Kibaki won the election. I remember like in 2002 when my father, because that time I did not vote, when my fathers were going to the election, it was Kibaki Tosha. So that Kibaki Tosha, that was the narrative. So no one was even talking about Uhuru na kazi. You know, there was Uhuru na kazi na Kibaki Tosha. Yeah. But Kibaki Tosha became momentous. So that's why I'm telling you, out of the narratives, one will take over. And that's why I'm now telling you, when now Ruto must go becomes the narrative, we now have an opportunity of also getting a worse leader also. That's why I do not disagree with the Kenyan revolutionary. But at least, because unajua Ruto lazima aende, but I hope yule jamaa tunawekelea hapo atoe Ruto, he will be a good person. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Njiru, for coming in and coming in late and us having a conversation. Thank you so much also, Kenya Rebel, Gitonga, Douglas, Ellen of Troy. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this channel. And we will be having such like conversation every time we find time, all maybe at Njiru's program, Kenya Rebel, everybody. And this is a conversation that we have to continue having for us to have a better leadership and a better country. This is Brother Benson, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Njiru, and somebody is saying, Njiru, enda ufungulie channel tuendelee.
In the next like 40 minutes, I will be there.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much again, Mr. Njiru. Thank you. I appreciate you so much for coming in, and may God bless you. To everyone who is out there, you can always subscribe to this channel, Brother Benson Media. We will bringing you such like conversation anytime we find time. May God bless you, and may God bless the work of your sweat.